What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. We got multiple different things going on here right now. A major arrest here of a billionaire. We'll go over the details of that here in this, or a former billionaire. Yeah, crazy stuff going on here right now, and a lot of different things here going on. We'll jump right in here and let you know here what's going on here in our country on a daily basis. Thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out our YouTube channel. And here we go. Also, let me know if you've been hit by this major storm making its way across the country from from left to right, from west to east. And yeah, it's one of these storms that's going to go from coast to coast. Of course, you may or may not be in the path, but it's a bad one. Take a look.
The massive storm, Americans feeling the impact coast to coast, including blizzard conditions, and the South bracing for possible tornadoes. Just moments ago, a tornado was confirmed in Oklahoma. Ginger has the latest path in just a few moments, but first, let's go to Mola Lenghi. He's in Denver, Colorado for us this morning. Good morning, Mola.
Well, good morning, Robin. Colorado here, one of 6 states under a blizzard warning this morning. Up to 18 inches of snow expected throughout the day, which, of course, could make for some dicey driving conditions this morning as well as this afternoon. In fact, more than 150 miles of Interstate 70 from Denver to the Kansas border has already been shut down in anticipation of the storm.
This morning, Californians are digging out after a winter storm brought blizzard conditions, almost 6 feet of snow inundating the Sierras, roads and trees completely covered. A snow-clearing train used to open a rail line in Donner Pass. And in Utah, more than 20 people injured after a bus rolled off a snowy highway. Winds over 100 miles per hour battering this ski resort in Lake Tahoe. That chairlift not safe to operate.
The storm dumped a few feet of snow on the Lake Tahoe area, burying homes, knocking out power lines, canceling schools. Residents will likely be digging out for days.
As the storm goes sweeping across the country, some northeast states already experiencing up to 9 inches of snowfall. In Boston, dozens of flights delayed, passengers frustrated after being stranded for hours.
They ran out of hotel rooms, and that's when they started handing out the cots.
Well, in addition to the snowfall, wind gusts of up to 50 to 60 miles per hour are expected here in Colorado, as well as other states in the storm's path as this system intensifies, Michael.
Yeah, so our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody. Hope you're safe. Let us know in the comments how it has been in your area. And you've seen that. Did you see that train, that snow plow train? I've never seen anything like that. It was great. They need to put like a red nose on that thing and call it Rudolph. Wow. And oh my gosh, there was so much snow there. It was crazy. Um, yeah, unbelievable. You've seen the 6 feet of snow in some areas. That's the second time this year we've seen 6 feet of snow. Um, Buffalo had that before Thanksgiving, even, which was way too early in the season for 6 feet of snow. If the snow is taller than you, it's too much snow. It's too much snow. The Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says that an omnibus continuing resolution is expected, and they think they're going to have a deal with the Republicans to fund the government, which would need to happen before Friday, or else there will be a government shutdown. And it will include the Electoral Count Act and funding for Ukraine. It says Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says that he expects a year-end omnibus continuing resolution spending package included in the to include the Electoral Count Act as well, which clarifies that the vice president's role in certifying a presidential election as ministerial, which is just kind of a formal ceremonial thing, that the vice president can't actually overturn an election going forward here for any future elections. and would also provide more funding for Ukraine. Republicans and Democrats would need to pass it at least in the Senate. So be aware of that. Congressional negotiators have been deadlocked for weeks over the top line defense and non-defense discretionary spending numbers. But Schumer said Tuesday he is optimistic a deal will be reached soon, saying, quote, I expect an omnibus, basically a continuing resolution, which will fund the government kind of at the same numbers, basically, for a certain time period, will contain priorities with both sides want to see pass into law, including more funding for Ukraine and the Electoral Count Act, which my colleagues in the Rules Committee have done a great work on. It will be great to get this done and not see a government shutdown, which would leave millions of American workers without a paycheck and the government shutdown. It would clarify that the constitutional role of the vice president is solely ministerial when Congress convenes in a joint session every 4 years to certify the results as a presidential election. The language is intended to resolve any ambiguity about whether the vice president has the power to overturn the vote of the Electoral College, something that former President Trump claimed was possible after losing the 2020 election. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell stood on the floor after Schumer spoke on Tuesday to endorse more funding for Ukraine. Quote, every day Russia spends on the back foot, basically in retreating mode, and Ukraine degrades the ability to wage further wars and diminish the calculus for others who might contemplate similar violence, Mitch McConnell said. Continuing support for Ukraine is the popular mainstream views that stretches across the ideological spectrum. He noted that former Director of National Intelligence John Radcliffe said that supporting Ukraine fully and completely is in the best interest of the United States. So remember here that all of the money that has gone to help Ukraine defend themselves and prevent Russia from literally just taking them over and destroying their country and all the decimation that's happened and continues to happen, had to be approved by Congress, Republicans and Democrats. Okay, so you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. The other alternative is to let Russia just do the opposite and just invade them and destroy them and take over. Now, also, I'll show you here that, remember, the U.S. is not the only country doing this. The G7 pledges to meet Ukraine's urgent air defense requirements. Pretty much most of Europe is also helping Ukraine as well. And the G7 promised on Monday to meet Ukraine's urgent requirements after President Zelensky appealed to the virtual G7 meetings for modern tanks, artillery firepower, and long-range weapons against Russia's devastating invasion. He urged the G7 to help Kyiv obtain an extra 2 billion cubic meters of natural gas in light of Ukraine's dire energy shortages as millions of people languish without power in sub-zero cold after further Russian air raids on critical infrastructure. And Russia's been purposely targeting their energy grid, and there's millions of people left in the cold with no electricity and no power. Separately, the European Union foreign ministers agreed on Monday to put another 2 billion euros or $2.1 billion in a fund used to pay for military support for Ukraine after it was largely depleted almost 10 months ago. More top-ups may be possible at a later stage. So again, other countries, European Union, also providing billions of dollars here periodically as well. Former crypto billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried This guy right here thought he was going to pull a fast one on the U.S. and Congress. He told Congress that he refused to testify before the Senate committee yesterday night. And as soon as the Senate got his basically word that he wasn't going to testify. So what had happened was Congress said, we need you to come in and testify. If you don't come in and testify, we're going to subpoena you. So there's your options. Well, apparently he had told Congress that he wasn't going to testify. He was the owner, the founder of this cryptocurrency FTX, which was one of the really big ones. It was kind of sponsored by Tom Brady and Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank and some really big names. And it collapsed, but it collapsed because he may have had some doing in it, and he like moved billions and billions of dollars, and there's maybe some wrongdoing here. Well, right after he said he's not going to testify, well, they arrested him literally like an hour later in the Bahamas. Yeah, so they seized him and arrested him. The U.S. filed criminal charges on him in the Bahamas. So he's either going to testify in the Bahamas or they're going to extradite him here to the U.S. So they're not going to pull a fast one on the U.S. or the investors that want an answer and want to know what money that is left, where it is, and can it be recovered. Here, take a listen.
So, Andrew, you interviewed a couple of weeks ago at your DealBook conference here in New York, Sam Bankman-Fried, the head of FTX, the cryptocurrency company that collapsed under his leadership. He was, he was sort of groveling when he spoke to you. He said, I didn't intend to commit a fraud. I didn't really know what I was doing. Well, yesterday he was arrested in the Bahamas. U.S. prosecutors have filed charges against him. Where does this go from here, Andrew?
So he was arrested yesterday. He is in the Bahamas. He needs to be extradited to the United States. We're going to be hearing later today from the Department of Justice about what exactly those charges are. Our understanding from sources are that we're talking about wire fraud, securities fraud, possibly money laundering and other charges. The SEC this morning at about 6 a.m. Filing its own civil case against Sam Bankman-Fried. And in that case, if you look through it, for those playing at home on page 11 specifically, when it comes to criminal intent, now it's a civil case, but when you look at it, they make reference to Sam Bankman-Fried effectively taking money in his hedge fund, not moving it over to the stock exchange the way he said it was supposed to be, and then actually moving the money again. And the reason why that's important is because when it comes to criminality, it always goes to the question of intent. Did he know what he was doing? And if you read that complaint very, very carefully, at least within that section, it really suggests that he actually knew exactly what he was doing and that he understood that the money was not supposed to be where it was. In fact, he was moving it because his own systems were charging him interest on that $8 billion. So, but having said all that, the most unique part about this, we talk about this as being a crypto case, and people think about crypto and Bitcoin and all of that.
Also, I saw something really interesting here the other day that I wanted to show you. It kind of goes with the winter theme here for now that we're actually getting snow, now that this massive snowstorm's coming across. We hadn't really got much snow here this year besides that one, Buffalo storm that hit only some parts of the U.S., but now this winter storm's coming across the U.S. But I wanted to show you this here. I thought this was interesting. I seen this here the other day, a rare all-white bald eagle spotted here in Oklahoma by a student. Take a look at this guy. Take a look at this guy. How cool is this to see a rare all-white bald eagle? How cool is that? You don't see that very often. Bald eagles had been on the endangered list, and let alone an all-white bald eagle. That is very cool. I thought that was pretty cool You almost wouldn't know what it was unless you really had got that good picture there to see that it was a bald eagle. Because yeah, what a great picture there. Yeah, it really kind of shows you that the world is an amazing place. An amazing place. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here in the comments, and I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. If you're new to our YouTube channel, or if you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on any new videos that come out here on our YouTube channel on a daily basis. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And click the bell icon after you subscribe so you get notifications when we go live here. And also, thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos. You can click here to watch my newest video next, or you can click here to see President Biden and the White House's deal that they're making for up to $3,000 checks. So click on one of those videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.